Guys, what's going on? It's Blockable right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel. Now I thought I'd stream another video and bring another episode to the channel because I believe in the last video we did have a little bit of interference on this microphone. Now if this mic don't perform like the old one, then we're going to have some troubles because I had to throw the other one as well. So, and I don't want to do that, guys. I don't want to keep spending money on the channel. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm literally just doing this for a little bit of fun, but I still want a smooth experience for my viewers, and I don't want to be putting out tripe there. So I thought, you know what, I'll bring you guys some extra information on this XRP Bitcoin chart, which I actually did forget to cover. Okay, so we're going to look at some more similarities over on the XRP Bitcoin chart. Okay, so I've discussed about these first peak, two peak wedge, first peak, two peak wedge. You're probably sick to death of hearing that expression now on the channel. However, you can see here where we're circled in yellow, where we actually got to the apex, and this is when we started making this sort of upwards movement to create the second wedge of this sort of chart, if you will. So you got the first wedge, and now obviously we've been playing out during the second wedge. So we're pretty much at an identical level from where we was here back in March of 2017. We are pretty much at the same point. Now what I want to see is what sort of level this sort of impulse went. Now on the typical XRP chart against the USD, everybody knows how we did that. One impulse, two impulse, consolidation, third impulse to, you know, on some exchanges we hit about $3.80. However, on this XRP Bitcoin chart, we actually only thrust up twice. So we do the first thrust, retrace, and then we actually, within a matter of weeks, we actually set the all-time high for this Bitcoin chart, XRP Bitcoin. So 1, 2, 3, within 4 weeks, we've actually spiked up and created a new all-time high on this particular chart. So it happens very, very quickly. This is why it's so important to actually follow technical analysts that actually know what they're talking about and actually showing these charts on a daily basis, because if you don't, you will miss it if you don't follow the charts yourself or follow someone who knows what they're talking about. Okay, I do appreciate sometimes these charts do get a bit repetitive. It gets repetitive for me, but it's better than working a 9 till 5, 40 hours a week till the age of like 67. I don't know what the retirement age is in your country. UK, I believe it's still 67. So last thing you want to be doing is working 40 hours a week, 40, 50 years of your life. You know, I'd rather just follow these charts every day now up until the end of the year or whenever we get this sort of significant move. But again, taking us back to March here of 2017, look at where the price actually goes. Now, I'm just going to take a quick sort of measurement here from the sort of apex here. So we actually rock it up around 11x, so that's 1,100%. Well, you could include that 29%. Don't really matter. I'll just round things up. And then it retraces. That green candle there, it closes at approximately a 10x. So you get a 10x straight out of the bat from the apex. Okay. So I'd expect XRP Bitcoin chart to do something similar here, although in the previous video I did talk about this first sort of hurdle we have to overcome with this sort of yellow horizontal line, which I placed around here, obviously to accommodate these sort of spikes in the price action in this sort of liquidity supply and demand zone. Okay, however, what I've also noticed as well, if I delete that blue measurement, is where this sort of price structure lines up. Now, if you look where this sort of price action lines up in terms of the wedge, we are literally taking out these two sort of peaks here inside of the wedge. So you've got like the all-time close here for the wedge, and then the next sort of high is here. So I want to be using the same sort of logic in this next wedge. So if we was to basically clone this and look where we're looking here inside this wedge, the next sort of shelf we're looking at is this sort of price action here. So you can see this weekly close and these sort of wicks going into it. So that for me is a key area. So if we delete this one down here, so this is where XRP actually spiked through, and you can see we've actually spiked all the way through it. And if I take us up to that high, so I'm going up to the top of that wick and just taking it across, yeah, this wick here. Let's actually zoom in for you guys. Let's try to get it as accurate as possible. There we go, we've nailed it. So we've nailed that green wick, which obviously spiked up about a 10x. And this is where we come into the only green candle on this sort of downward spiral, if you will, from this sort of capitulation, from this peak to high. Okay, and that's a doji candle in my opinion. So obviously we've kind of fallen through. And then again, on sort of the first peak down here, this is obviously a significant level as well, because obviously you get a capitulation, you get the retracement, even though it's a healthy correction. If we're in a bear market, so boom, then the capitulation to the bear. So what we'll be looking to do is taking this same sort of logic over to these charts here now. So as you can see, we've had that green candle again in this wedge. Exactly what happened here. I need to start highlighting it. So this top of this weekly candle here, this green weekly candle, this here, this for me is exactly the same as this right here, this one here. Yeah, see that green candle inside that yellow circle, exactly the same. Now we'll mark that, we'll mark it in again, that horizontal line, exactly where this first wick moves into. Yeah, so this is exactly what I expect XRP Bitcoin chart to sort of wick into, this sort of area. So although I've done this one, this is a conservative line. We can delete this one now, delete that yellow line, because that's from the previous one. So we're looking here minimum, and then if we're actually going to replicate what we did in the previous sort of wedge, where we actually wicked up here, it's massive impulse, it wicks into that sort of top shelf. And this top shelf for me is this here, where my red arrow is. So we're looking at some sort of price action before a massive retracement. Because when that retracement goes, when XRP runs up 10x against the Bitcoin, look at the retracements. So if we go from the weekly high there of that movement, and we're retracing 60%, so you're losing 60% of your gains. Yeah. So if we was to do exactly the same here on this one, say for example we make a solid move up to this sort of line, we repeat history basically. So we're going to go up about a 10-11x, exactly what we did with this green candle, and then we're going to capitulate 60%. Okay, so let's just basically do exactly the same. So we're going to retrace 60%, so around that sort of mark. Now what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to borrow this yellow line here and see where this yellow horizontal line actually links up to. So you can see straight off the bat here the significant supply and demand zone, because this is like the bottom of the impulse. You can see here how we bounce, and we actually get a small bounce, consolidation, breakdown, and then we're wicking into that sort of area. So this to me could be a sort of solid move, what we're going to expect against XRP Bitcoin. Now whether or not this move happens when XRP pays that $125 million settlement fee, that could well happen. So we could get this massive impulse. This is even before the official breakout, okay, which is what I've stipulated here. And this is why I've left it like a grey zone, because in between April, when the Bitcoin halving occurred, and to the end of the year, I don't know what's going to happen. I just expect it, going off this previous data, to pinball around till this official breakout. Okay, so again, this could be a massive probability. So we'll fly up to this sort of yellow line. Again, if you're subscribed, I'll keep you up to dated. We'll do a 10x against Bitcoin, and then obviously we're looking at a 60% retracement, or you know, it don't have to be 60% on the, you know, it don't have to be pinpoint 60%, 61, 62, 63%, okay, which should take out this sort of, for me, it's going to be an important level for us. Okay, so once we get that 60% retracement, obviously within 4 weeks, we are actually printing peak 1 of 2. Exactly what we've done in both of these cycles here. Okay, so 4 weeks after that retracement, down here, this 63% retracement, we're literally going to rally up in 4 weeks. That's if history repeats itself. It may not, history might not repeat itself, but it often rhymes, as the Wall Street saying goes, guys. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. We're coming up to 10 minutes. If you enjoyed the content, like, share, subscribe, do what you got to do, guys. Blobble over and out.